Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're biting into a food that's so much more than just a meal. It's a story of survival, of culture, and of incredible flavor, all packed into a casing.
So you see a long coil, some tiny links, a big thick one? I mean, they look totally different, right? But believe it or not, they all share the exact same origin story and the same basic purpose. So, let's find out what it is.
And there it is. They're all a seriously delicious solution to a really old problem. How do you make precious meat last longer? The sausage is basically one of humanity's original food hacks, just a brilliant way to preserve meat and use every last scrap.
And to really understand that, our journey has to start in Germany, with what you might call the ancestor of them all.
Let's talk bratwurst. The name itself comes from Old High German, Brett, which means finely chopped meat, and Wurst, which is, you guessed it, sausage. It was born out of pure necessity. I mean, think about it. Farming families trying to survive those harsh, cold Central European winters. They could not afford to waste anything. So they ground up all the leftover scraps of meat, seasoned them, and created a food that could see them all the way through to spring.
And here's the thing, bratwurst isn't just one single thing. No way. It's incredibly diverse. Germany alone has over 40 distinct types. You've got the tiny Nürnberger, which is barely 3 inches long, and then you have the big, hearty, chunky Franconian bratwurst. Same core idea, but a completely different experience.
And you know, this isn't just about local pride. That tiny little sausage is a piece of legally protected cultural heritage. It just proves that a simple food can become this fiercely guarded symbol of a whole city's identity.
Okay, so from Germany, let's see how this basic idea just blossomed all across Europe, adapting and changing as it hit new climates and new ingredients.
Over in Spain, when paprika arrived from the Americas back in the 16th century, it completely transformed their sausage making. And it wasn't just a new flavor. This was an absolute game changer for preservation.
So, the crucial ingredient here is the pimentón, the smoked paprika. Yeah, it gives chorizo that iconic red color, but more importantly, it actually helps to cure the meat. The type of pimentón they use decides if it's spicy or picante or sweet, dulce. And the fat content? Well, that tells you whether you're going to be slicing it for tapas or cooking it into a stew.
All right, let's head over to Italy, where we find a sausage with roots that go all the way back to Roman times. Mortadella is a true classic, and its secret really lies in its texture.
And get this, by law, true mortadella bologna has to have at least 15% cubes of pure pork fat. Now, that might sound like a lot, but that fat is precisely what gets ground into a smooth paste and gives it that signature silky melt-in-your-mouth texture. It's absolutely crucial.
And now for a happy accident, this time from Bavaria. The famous white breakfast sausage, or Weisswurst, was reportedly invented completely by mistake way back in 1857.
So as the story goes, a butcher named Sepp Moser had to improvise. He ran out of thin sheep casings and had to use thicker pig casings instead. He was worried they'd just burst over the fire, so in a split-second decision, he decided to gently poach them in hot water. And just like that, a panic solution became a beloved regional classic.
Okay, our journey now takes us to warmer climates. Here, preservation and flavor required a totally different approach. They traded heavy smoke and salt for vibrant, fresh ingredients.
In northern Thailand, sausage is less about curing for the long haul and more about an intense, immediate infusion of fresh, local herbs and spices. The herbal paste in Sai Ua is just incredible. You've got lemongrass, lime leaves, galangal, chilies, all packed in there. But it's not just for that amazing aromatic flavor. Those herbs also act as a natural preservative, which is pretty handy in the tropical heat. Now, in the humid climate of southern China, smoking wasn't always a very practical way to preserve meat. So they perfected a completely different method, air drying. Lapchong is cured with soy sauce, rice wine, and sugar, which gives it this unique, almost candy-like flavor profile that's so different from its European cousins. It's sweet and savory, with a really distinct chewy texture. It's then air-dried until it's hard, which just concentrates all that amazing flavor.
All right, for our final leg, let's explore what happened when these sausage recipes traveled the globe with immigrants. We're going to see how they were completely transformed by new cultures, new palates, and totally new ingredients.
And Dewey is such a brilliant illustration of this. When French immigrants came to Louisiana, their traditional recipe, made with things like pig intestines, met a whole new world of ingredients. They swapped the organs for pork shoulder, added a punch of cayenne pepper and garlic, and smoked it twice over pecan wood. They created something entirely new and powerfully flavorful. Over in South Africa, Dutch recipes met African spices, and the result was a true national icon. Boerewors, which literally means farmer sausage, is an absolute staple of any South African barbecue, or as they call it, a braai.
Its defining flavor comes from toasted coriander seeds, cloves, and nutmeg. And a touch of vinegar is added, which helps with preservation. But what's really key is the standard. By law, it has to contain at least 90% meat. This is a serious, meaty sausage, always cooked fresh in its signature coil.
So, when you look at them all side by side, the whole story just becomes so clear. Every single sausage is a culinary time capsule. It tells you about a region's climate, its history of trade, and its local ingredients, just by how it's flavored and preserved.
You know, from a simple solution to food waste to a powerful symbol of cultural identity, the sausage just proves that the most humble foods often have the absolute richest stories to tell. So you have to ask yourself, what food tells the story of your culture?